and joining us in this A Date with Yau Yau 老师. So we want to hear a little bit about her story from an early childhood educator's perspective on early childhood. Because as parents, right, we, like what Rolf teacher said, we are not born to be parents. We have to learn. And there's so much to learn in this short period of even 1 year. I'm not saying 3 years time, right? So, and you know, from tending to feeding them, to moving them, accompanying them, there's so many little details that we only find out later that, oh, these are important. Oh, I should have done this, you know, that sort of questions. So that's why actually me and Yau Yau 老师, very interestingly, last year in ACM, our conference, while I was holding my baby around, she came up to me and said like, I know many people very sayang your baby, you know, they're all like continuously carrying her. You need to let her, put her down a bit more, yeah? And that time she was maybe 8 months. And because we were in an adult event, so there wasn't really a spot that I can put her down or like let her, with supervision also it's difficult. So when she said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's true. I never thought about that. And later on also, you know, we have a lot of small discussions on this topic also, which led me to think that, yeah, if only we knew more of this, and even for Yau Yau 老师, if she had knew more of this when she was having her kids are older now, and she would have been, you know, more helpful. So today we'll do like a dialogue style. And so here we are. When we met Yau Yau 老师 last year, actually she was teaching remedial learning support. So this is how I know her as a Waldorf teacher as well. So my first question would really much be like, what actually inspired you to join this in early education? What is it that inspired you to want to come into this?
Okay. Hi. Thank you once again. Okay. I never thought I will become an early child teacher. So after I went for Waldorf teachers training for early childhood back in 2013, I started to form a play group for my 3-year-old child. So I gather some friends staying nearby. So I try to put into practice what I learned during my training. So after I finished my training in 2016, I continued this play group for my 3rd child. Thereafter, I opened to publics. Yeah, so why I came to become a remedial teacher, I never expect that, because when at my last semesters of my training, my tutor said that, you know, there's this something called extra lessons, now known as learning support. So it creates a lot of curiosity in me. And I also feel like I need to know this, because I see that there are more and more children having difficulties in learning, but to what extent, I don't know. So I waited until 2018. I flew to Taiwan to take up the course. So I'm learning from some legends, the teacher, the training team, and also my tutors from Germany, okay, Miss Vicky. Okay, so I'm learning from them since then. So I start to put into practice. I gather some of my older kids, those graduated from my kindy. So I started and try to do with them, and so that I can really understand and ask the right questions. Yeah.
So, and what was it that gave you inspiration, or like what insight did you see that showed that, you know, what more and more kids nowadays actually need more of this support?
Even over the more than 10 years, I can see the challenges in all the young children are getting more and more. What more when they come to a school setting where they can't move a lot, they have to sit at their chairs, for long hours and have to write, have to listen. And yeah, I noticed that they are more concerned. Yeah, even I spoke to some of the class teachers. They feedback to me, they're having problem with children while teaching. They can't really teach them, but to do a lot of class management just because of the children's having problems to stay focused or even to sit down, that 10 minutes, it was so hard. Yeah. So we can see, I can talk more about that later. Yeah.
And this is always related to 0 to 3 years old.
Yes, yes. It's the root problem is always go back to their first year, especially. Yeah.
Because that's where all the mountains of reflexes.
Yeah, we
that
call
we
it
have to-
cluster of reflexes. Means not just one, it's overlapping throughout. Yeah. So I will name a few. I felt that it's very important. There's a long list of reflexes, but I felt that maybe I picked 7 of them, to tell you why these will come up in the future when they reach primary school, will reach their adulthood, especially at the emotional level. Okay, I started off with this moral reflex. Okay, all these reflexes is needed as a form of protections to help the birth process, especially when the child went through the birth canals. These reflexes help them to have a smooth process, to help them to cope, to the gravity, because while baby in your tummy, in mommy tummy, they can't really feel the gravities. So moral reflex is one of the protections for them to respond. The body will automatically respond to some unexpected stimulus. Okay, so you will see when the child, you try to put them down, okay, the hands will open, the leg will bend like that. Yes. So all these need to will inhibited, means it will gone after between 2 to 4 months. So why these are important? Because for this kind of reflex, if it didn't integrated, means it didn't become part of the system. If it's still coming out after 4 months, the child will came across like very sensitive, or sometimes they're overreacting to some shock, some lighting, even sound. They have very big response. So, and this will affect their stress level. The child will have higher stress hormone, and that will eventually lead them to a lot of anxiety, and some even have infections. They easily get sick, and having maybe skin problems, and even low glucose, because the body need to always on standby mode to not to be try to cope with all these unwanted situations. So when this kind of child grow up, it will appear to be they are very sensitive by nature because of this moral reflex. And the child, when they turn into adulthood, it's easier for them to get emotional. It's very hard for them to control themselves, and it's very hard for them to cope when it comes to social or to face problem in life. Okay, so yeah, so that is the moral reflex. We can see quite easily right after birth. And the second one is the palmar reflex, and I'm sure most of us will know this. The child will hold your your finger, and it won't let go, and these reflexes is to help the child, to hold on, to cling on to mother. So right after they were born, so that they're able to find the milk. Okay, so eventually after 2 to 3 months, it will overcome, and it will become, the child eventually know how to hold things, with grips like this. However, if the child still sensitive, after 2 to 3 years old, still very sensitive on this part, so it means they can't let go. So the child will having problem on the grip, and when they are holding hand, they have very funny kind of grip because there's a lot of tension here, or they can't hold things. Like I think you will sure have this experience when we start letting the child eating by themselves, they will start dropping things, drop. And to be able to drop, to realize, oh, actually can let go. This is a good sign, means these reflexes integrated, so the child able to let go and have better grips. So when this child reach the age that they need to ride, the child will have a better pencil grip. So we hope first thing in class 1 in Moro school is to let the child have a very good pencil grip. Yeah. Okay. Okay. If you wish to let your child draw or do something, like even they start scribble, you'll see them doing this, and eventually they use their fine motor. So we hope to see these 3-point grips. Okay, instead of something like this. No, this is still a reflex. It shows the reflex didn't let go. So we hope to see the child eventually able to hold pencil like this, so that it won't affect their gross motor, affect their spine, because you will hear some adults, they easily have sleep neck pain, very stressed here, sleep this because of this reflex. It could be because of this palmar reflex didn't integrated. Okay, so yeah, so palmar also relate to our speech, surprisingly, right? So our palm actually relate to our mouth. So sometimes children that cannot overcome this reflex, they will have problem to move their tongue and even close their lips. Okay. Then next we move to this we call it ATNR. Okay. I think it's very common to see this is ATNR. Okay, we'll see our child when the head turn one side, the hand show will be like this, then the other side do the opposite. Okay, these need to overcome by 6 months. So, and the child will this is their first movement that help them to have eye-hands coordinations, because when the hand moves, the eye will follow, because the child did not realize that, hey, this is my hand. Okay, a baby would know, but he or she will see something like about 17 cm length. The vision is about that. So that's how they start to coordinate their eye, their hands. Okay, so what will help if they overcome this? They will have better handwritings. Okay, better pencil grips, and they able to express themselves while writing. This ability. And even if they didn't integrate this, they may have eye tracking problems. Eye tracking problem is very important. When you're sitting in class, you try to copy from the blackboard, what the teacher wrote on the blackboard, and whether your eye can catch the sentence, or while reading, whether your eye is able to follow through all your fingers, when you point the words. Sometimes it may jump, the vision will flip. Okay, if they didn't have this kind of healthy movement. All right. So, and this also affect their movement in later, because this will affect their, because can you imagine in a classroom setting, when the child try to do painting, right? So he's holding the brush, and suddenly he turn, the hand go. Then accident happens. And without him realize that actually it's a reflexes, make him turn that or move the hand or move the leg. So they can't sit still. No, they have problem coordinate the hand and their movement and even their speech as well. Okay. Yeah. So then another thing is this one also we have they will have problem to cross midline. What is midline? Actually, we have this invisible midline, like from verticals and the horizontal. So ATNR is how do you see the child had yet to cross their midline? It's very common to have children not able to cross their midline before 4. Okay, they will play, they will do brush like this. Then suddenly the other hand have to take over when they reach the middle. Or even when they read the middle sentence, they have to move a bit or they move their paper. Okay, you will see children do funny thing in classroom setting. They try to move their body or adjust their positions just to cross that midline. Okay, so later I will share with you how to overcome that. Actually, it's very easy, but we need to be aware that the child, if they don't overcome this, they will have problems even in crawling. They can't crawl on their stomach. Yeah, because they will have robot-like movements. 同手同脚, they will
Same hand, same leg.
same hand, same leg. So it's very hard for them to crawl with this. Okay, and they will have dominant issue. They can't the body because we need to have our preferred side of using our eyes, our ears, our hand, and our legs. So if the child don't have the preferred side or develop a preferred side, it's just like your system need a bit of time to reach the other side. Okay, we can't notice that, but the child themselves, the children themselves, they will take extra effort just to compensate what they don't have. Okay, so next is rooting and suck reflexes. So this is also need to disappear after 4 months. Okay, so we can see that when you touch the baby cheek or the near the mouth area, they will surely turn because that is their survival mode when they need to search for food. Okay, so this rooting reflex actually help them, especially when the child able to get breastfeeding. They learn how to swallow, and eventually they learn how to put their tongue properly, and to have a good able to rest their tongue at the upper part. You try to relax yourself right now and check where do you put your tongue. On top. Yeah, on top. Yeah. So it's supposed to be rest on top, so that it won't it won't be too like outwards or inwards. And sometimes you see children, they try to stick up the tongue because they don't have these natural reflexes that teach the tongue how to positions. Okay, that will cause them to have problem in chewing, and they will tend to dribbling, like you call sweet, and even while they try to play with the flutes, the water will drip. Yeah, they have sometimes they will have very weak jaw, and because the tongue affect the jaw, the mouth area, so that means the teeth will look. Yeah, the jaw will like get very funny, and it's not the proper U shape, but maybe V shape, and the mouth, sometimes it may cause them to have mouth breathing. Yeah, that's very bad for their health and also their learning. And if they can't control their tongue, which means while they are trying to coping with their work on the desk, the tongue will come out. Sometimes it's so funny. It's unconscious. The tongue will just sticking out, drawing together with the hands. Just now I mentioned that our hand actually connect with the mouth. Okay, so they will have problems when it comes to routine, you know, when relate to chewing and speak, even speech, their articulations, they will have problems to pronounce certain words. Okay, so yeah. So and another, okay, please bear with me. Another three more.
Actually, we asked Yau Yau 老师 just to share maybe one or two,
Yeah.
but she's like so
You know,
difficult.
because is if you know this more, and it will help you to understand your child why.
And make our life easier.
Yeah, and even to show empathy to them, because sometimes we just cannot tahan. Why this our child so difficult, and why they are so hard. But little that we know, the child is trying so hard, you know, to cope with, you know, all the learning, all the social rules they need to comply, but they just can't. Okay, so final three, very important. Okay, spinal balance reflex. Okay, this one it's very normal for the child to have this between, you know, even by 9 months old, or yeah, hopefully by 9 months old it disappear. When you see the picture on your lap, when you try, if you have a baby at home, you can try to touch their back, you know, they will move, the body will move. Actually, this one related to ATNR, which I will share with you more. And you can see that the child next to on the right, you can see if the child having very sensitive back, you know, well, if they reach older age, the child cannot sit right in front of the classroom. They need to stay behind with the wall behind, so that he feel more secure and he won't feel like something is coming, because they are very sensitive at the back. And even the back of this chair, right, will make them feel so uncomfortable. So the mother or the teacher will say, how come you cannot sit still? Little that we know that it's very sensitive at the back. You know, they're having problem, try not to move, but they just can't. It's just like something some ants, you know, at your back, and you just feel like you have to move. You have to move. Yeah, because
or find somewhere more comfortable.
Yeah. And this one will affect their how to say, will affect their concentration, because while you try to stay focused, spine keep telling you, or your back keep telling you, hey, something is happening. Help. You know, the child, they actually try to focus, but they can't. So, and there's also another problem with this reflex. The child may continue bedwetting even when they reach 5 years old and above, because of this. Okay, so and just now I mentioned that the concentration problems, it also affect the memories, because they can't stay focused. Of course, they can't remember. All right. Okay, now we come to the TLR, tonic labyrinths. Okay, so
yeah, TLS.
Yeah, sure. Okay, when you see the child, no, it's just a bit like Moro, but it's not. So when the child lean on the on the prone positions, prone means that they and supine is yeah. So it's very common for them to stretch out their leg and their hands, you know, and even if they on prone position, they will curl up. Yes. And this will affect their balance if the child didn't integrate this, and they will have very weak muscle tone, and cause them very hard to coordinate, to have a good visual perceptions. Can you imagine a child like this, and if they have this kind of reflexes, they can't really quick with their hands and knee, because when they try to lift up their head, the leg will stretch, you know, and it makes them very hard to crawl. So take note, if your child can't crawl and they try to have this kind of positions, you know, it will affect the later part of their life, and the child may tend to stoop one yao, okay, and their head will tend to lean forwards, okay, and their movement is not flexible, because they can't really crawl and their muscle tone is weak. So when they reach the age of, after 3 years old, you see them walking.
If you want to fix, just come here, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So the child will have problem in special orientation, means they can't really know the space, okay, to know how big is this distance, or they can't walk on the papers, okay, on the papers. No, they will tend to write at the corner of the paper instead of using the whole page, because the child, they can't have this sense of the space.
Dimension.
Yeah. Okay, the last one, the STNR. Okay, all this information, if you search online, you will have a lot of guidance how to work with children. Okay, STNR basically it will integrate it when they reach about 11 months old. Okay, you can see if the child can do this, they able to overcome a lot of reflexes, other reflexes, if they able to reach this. But if these reflexes still appear, the child will have tendency they can't, the upper part of body and the lower part of the body cannot coordinate. Yeah, they can't coordinate, and it will make them have very poor eye-hands coordinations. And they try their sitting position. Is very common to see young children this day. They sit in W positions. Yeah, you will see the W shape of their leg, and they can't synchronize their movements. Okay, so it will affect their horizontal midline. Okay, yeah. The horizontal midline means the upper part and the lower part. There's a horizontal midline. If the child try to bend, they can't. If the reflexes still around, they will tend to lift up their leg. Okay, or they will tend to move down their head, and they will tend to squat down instead of bend their body and take up things on the floor. They will tend to just squat down and pick up. So if you see your toddler doing that, that's normal, but not for primary children. Okay, so you can see that Ning share actually about what will you see if the child having some reflexes in their body. They tend to sit like this. Children having all these reflexes, they will have problem with their posture. They can't sit really straight, and they will tend to they wouldn't able to know which part is my body. Like some children, they don't even know which side is my right side or left side, or where's my elbow, where's my knee. They'll have problem with that, and they also struggle how to use the dominant side. They will have mixed dominance. Sometimes left hand, sometimes right hand, sometimes left eye, sometimes right ears. If the child successfully have their preferred side all on the right side or all on the left side, then you can tell that the body system is running smoothly, so that the body can function better and synchronize better, and they have more flexibilities. Yeah. So another thing you can see, children struggle with space. They can't tell the distance, or they can't tell how much strength I need to use to toss this ball. And even when it comes to writing, you can see that they can't really keep their writing in between the line, or they will squeeze their handwriting at one corner or certain corner. They just can't use the whole page of that papers. So can you imagine when the child struggle all this and sitting in the classroom, the teacher will be like very stressed out. How come this child appear to be so innocent, but the handwriting is like this. Why cannot sit still? Why keep interrupting? Some children, because they really know their own problems, So they try not to follow through in order not to show their weaknesses. Smart child will do that. They will tend to distract the class because he or she know she will have problem if the teacher try to do something with them, especially when doing sports. They can't cope, and they will try to compensate that. Even recently, I did an assessment with a child entering grade 1. The mother shared with me that this child went through cesareans, and she went through the MCO period. She can't move much, and she has really cluster of reflexes. And the mother shared with me that she can tell the child is working so hard. She's working so hard, try to follow through the academic requirements. And she's in international school, but she still find it very hard to cope with all the learning, despite she see that the child really put a lot of efforts. And I think we, as parents or even as teacher, we need to bear in mind that all children desire to learn. They desire to excel. They try to tell you, hey, but because of all these reflexes, which they can't tell you, they can't control. And sometimes you have younger children who will come and tell you, I try to, but my hand won't listen. I try my best, but my legs still do this, do that, So if we know some of these reflexes, at least when we observe our children, see what's wrong in them, what are they struggling. So we're able to empathize, show empathy to them instead of labeling them. You lazy, you don't pay attention. That's why you don't remember. Because you
Purposely.
you purposely you purposely don't
Create havoc.
create problems. Actually, the child, he is so innocent. I try to, but I can't. Even I have this boy. When he struggled through all the clusters. So when I always remember him, because he is the one that taught me to learn more on this, because that's how I realized that actually he struggled so much, and the kind of effort that he put in was so high, even at the point that he's now secondary. He's aware of his problem, but he don't know what to do. But the kind of time and level that he put in to excel academically is really much more that he gave. He really put extra efforts. And what's more, he has having problem in reading, having dyslexia, and the parents already realized when he was grade 4. So he struggled through, over the first few years, but because of his learning attitude, the teacher actually able to, appreciate him, despite he didn't show good result, but the teacher appreciate his effort. But not many children having, that lucky, having teachers that really show understanding. Yeah. So yeah, there's this much that I want to cover.
It's a lot. And so you mentioned about dyslexia just now briefly, and I wanted to ask maybe if does it also have somewhat to do, because it's a learning disability, that we feel some of us do have learning difficulties. Is it also could be related to 0 to 3?
Yes. I think most of the root problems, it could be related to the early developments, especially the reflexes didn't integrated properly. So will it disappear? It depends what the parents do with them. So if you think that, okay, I just relax, when they grow up, they will somewhat overcome. Most of the time it won't, unless you do the right thing to support them. Okay, I had parents that try to let the child do a lot of outing, do a lot of movement, because movement does help. Like even in our kindergartens, we do a lot of movements. We do movement basically all the time, because that's how the body able to to adjust, to integrate, some of the reflexes that buried inside. So when they have the chance, especially like, can you imagine the child didn't have the chance to crawl, but if he go to jungle trekking, he somehow has to use his hand and feet to coordinate the left side, the right side. It may not overcome in one night, but over time, we need to do a lot of things to support that. We need to let them move. But a lot of time, this kind of child, they realize, the smart child, they realize, okay, I'm having problem with this. I try to avoid. I try not to move much. I try to do something else to compensate that. So if you notice your child, when the throughout his childhood, he don't really desire to move much. This the time you need to start observing. I have children that having problems with swing. If the child, by nature, they love swimming because that will stimulate their vestibular, chanting, that will help them to balance themselves, to coordinate. If the child refuses to go on the swing, maybe you need to start recalling what happened during the first year, especially the calling, the gripping, he skipped that. Okay. Yeah, perhaps I can show Link can show the pictures of the timeline, what the child needs to do, so that as young parents, you will notice that if your child had enough tummy time, actually you're able to strengthen their spine, their muscle, so that all these reflexes able to integrate. Yeah, this is the one. Maybe I share bigger. So tummy time is very important. Free play is very important. And the problem will come if you have more than one caretaker at home, and the child wouldn't be able to have time stay on the floor. This usually happen when you have kakak at home, you have grandparents at home, you have the mother side grandparent, the father side grandparents. Basically, the child don't have time to be on the floor. Okay, you see that from these pictures, and especially the first half of the years, the child need to be on their time, even have their own free time to discover their own body, because the child need to move a lot, like to be able to turn themselves into a prone positions. Okay, they need to try to move maybe 100 times, practice 100 times a day, in order to build that synapses, the nerve system, to remember, so that the body remember, okay, if I turn like this, I eventually can turn around. But if you look at your baby, oh, you're so cute, try to work hard, you push, you help, push. Actually, then the baby will miss the chance to have this memory, the muscle, the exercise, this movement memories to be imprinted in them. So we try not to intervene when the child try to discover their own body, to explore how to roll over, try to creep, to fall. And you can see this first 6 months actually is the foundation to build the latter 6 months to support them to do all this. So if your baby don't have time to be on the floor enough, most likely the ATNR or the TLR will stop them from doing what they need to go through. Especially you can see the 7, 8, 9. They will most likely will skip that and will straight move to standing up and try to walk. Our grandparents, sometimes the older generation will feel so happy. Wow, my grandson or grandchild can walk so fast. Actually, that is a nightmare for teachers at the later stage, because once they skip that, they will have a lot of problems when it comes to learning. Yeah, So we are getting more and more very intelligent child, but having problem with their body. They basically you can see them so smart here, but their body is not flexible. They can't really do sports. They can't really cope. And of course, we want them to really grow healthily, to have all this healthy movement, so that all their reflexes able to integrate and to grow, to have these new abilities to manage the body. So the first year is literally help them to take charge, to control their body and to become more flexible and more fluid when in their movement by the time they reach 3 years old, and so that they can do more. And this is how they get their self-confidence, they have better self-esteem, wanting to learn, wanting to explore. You will see child with a lot of confidence try to know this world and try to help, try to imitate. But if the child is struggling, they won't show this kind of confidence. They will appear very nervous, having a lot of anxiety, and always melt down, and they are literally lack of security. They don't feel safe to stay in this body. They often feel that, I feel dizzy whenever I do things, or I feel like I'm going to fall down. I feel like something has happened. I can't move. I try to stand firm, but somehow my hand and my leg just can't coordinate. They will struggle all this, which they can't verbal and tell you. So if we know all this, it will help us, to really support them.
We got so much to learn as parents. I think just by this few reflexes. And maybe one more question from my side is like, because a lot of the reflexes we see at older age, right? How about what can we do besides just letting them be on their own? Because somehow, in my experience, my baby don't like to be alone. You know what I mean? And maybe some parents also have this problem that if they're so busy, how can we assist them in some ways? Because somehow it's also our over intervention that caused the problem. Yeah. So what if they don't want to leave us also? That's also
I think working mothers or working parents will have child tend to think on you because they can't see you most of often. And of course, lack of security, and they want that kind of affections is their needs actually. So but some parents, they really need to work, to support the families. So if you have a caretaker, they're able to provide a consistent, means a fixed schedule, good rhythm, a safe space to build that security, because rhythm builds security. Why? Because the child will know that after the feeding time, I will get a bath, and after get a bath, now it's my sleeping time. Of course, she won't tell you she know, but by doing that every day, it's a rhythm. You are consistent in doing that. The child will develop that kind of securities. But because of like Ning, I understand that your work, you sometimes have to bring your baby out, things like that. Of course, we need to try like if you work in Gongsi house, perhaps you can set a corner for her, to let her know that, try to get your time consistent. Like at this certain time, you'll reach your office, you'll do that with her. Yeah, that routine. You can design, custom make your own lifestyle. Yeah, your lifestyle, because I can't expect working moms, you do this, you have a checklist. It will be very difficult for you. I think as mother, we need to be secure with ourselves first. Yeah, because the child senses are open. They sense you, they're sensing you all the time. and they know mommy is going to do something later. She can feel the kanchongness in you, you know. And some child even they'll start having fever. Yeah, I have colleagues. Whenever he need to run an event, the child should get sick.
Oh no.
That is like 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Because young children's their senses are all open. Is they are really a sensor, and when does this sensor shut down? Is whenever they sleep. Yeah. So that also means that the child can't protect themselves, to shut down to protect themselves. But it's only when sleeping and we put them at the age appropriate place, then they be able to start have a good, you know, feeling good, like secure and not overstimulations. What is overstimulations? Like if you bring the child to shopping mall, that's definitely not a child-friendly place, because you can see a lot of lighting, zap, 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 you know, the LED, or the sound, you know, all these kind of stimulations, the child will not be able to cope. And what will happen? In order to digest all this overstimulation, the child sometimes will get fever, or they will just sleep throughout longer hours just to digest, you know, to let go of all these stimulations. And sometimes they will appear to be over excited. They just cry and cry and cry because they need to let go of all these stimulations. Yeah, so that they don't feel so overwhelmed. And that's how they coping. Yeah.
So much to learn. Yeah. And we have a question from the floor from Tisha. She asks, all these reflexes will integrate automatically, or how do we help our babies or children to integrate the reflexes? And I think just now Yau Yau also mentioned, right?
Yeah, a lot of tummy time, and you let them explore at a safe space for them to explore, and they have enough time every day. You know, you can set a time for them to be on the tummy. Try not to carry them unnecessarily. If you need to bring your toddler out, try not to put on the strollers. Let them walk. Okay, let them walk. And if you really have to bring them to shopping mall, okay, another thing you can protect them is for children that below 1, we try not to go out as often. But if you have to, you can sweater them, you know, carry them, so that the younger one, they can see you. Okay, the older one that need to sleep or lie down on the stroller, let them facing you. Let them see you instead of looking at outside. Because the outside world is so huge and so big and so new. The child will be like overstimulated. So if you have to go out, you make sure the stroller facing you, or you carry them, you know. And for a baby earlier than 6 months old, I will encourage, try not to leave them, not carry them like this, to allow them to have this lying down time a lot, because that's how they start observing the surrounding. If you put them too early, you know, actually the spine is still very soft, and it may affect the muscle, especially the neck, you know, the TLR, you know. And we try to let them lie down before six months, if possible. And after they're able to roll over, they creep, they crawl, we make them crawl. And sometimes we try to be creative. Like, for example, you can put some soft pillow to let them crawl over, okay, and to crawl with them, to play game with them, and to even have some simple toy that help them to like, now we have this kind of how to call that, the thing that hanging on top, how to call that? Can't remember. Okay, the first few months, you know, if they can lie down and observe, maybe in your room, you know, you can set them in a fixed corner. Maybe during the first
Fine mobile.
The mobile thingy, or if you don't have, it's all right. If you have this room that is for him or her, okay, you try to put him at certain corner first for a few months, so the child will take time to observe, okay, the surrounding. Then after a few months, you move to another corner. They're still in the same room, but the child will start observing. This is different side of the room. Okay, and different corner. Make full use of the room, the space that you have, without really moving them around. The child, the baby that below 6 months or even below 1 year old, before they can walk, try to keep them in the surrounding of the house, because there's that much they need. Okay, so that no need we don't overstimulate them. So I think to help them to build security with the familiar space, a fixed space is important. It's also part of the rhythm. And to have a fixed time feeding, sleeping time, play time, you will see the child is getting easier. Yeah. If you have a child that keep having problems from birth, because some mother, they went to cesareans, and they take medication before the labor. Okay, the child will definitely have some how we call that? We have some stress. I will strongly recommend that we bring to cranial sacral therapist or osteo to have a check on them, especially child that went through cesareans, or if the child going through natural birth that need vacuum, or if you take epidurals and you have some medication during this process, is always have the someone who is specialized in this area to check on them. Because for my child, after I met one 10 years ago, I didn't realize that because she went through this vacuum, she can't really have a good suctions when I try to breastfeed her. And she will cry almost every 5 p.m., during the first 3 months. Somehow, if I know earlier, I could have avoid them and to have a better time with her. And she also, because she struggled prolonged jaundice, because that time I also don't know. so prolonged, like 1.5 months. Yeah, and she can't really stay awake when I try to feed her, and she can't really suck. Yeah, because she was too weak, because she went through the compressions on the head. That affected her. Yeah, when I spoke to cranial sacral therapist, then she explained the birth process, how the child get affected from the beginning. Yeah, I was, no wonder she was so uncomfortable. Yeah, so uncomfortable, and we don't know what to do. And as mother, we feel so painful when our child cry, and we do all we can. We try to feed all the time. For me, that time I always have this, maybe she's hungry. Everyone try to tell if the baby cry, feed, just feed. But we didn't solve the problems. If only we know there's something called reflexes. If only we know there's some specialists out there, know how to handle newborns, going through this. We may have a better, smooth beginning, rather than a lot of chaos.
And maybe one last question from Sue. So Sue has twins, 8 months baby, and she noticed that her son is more attached to a maid, because Sue has to attend to the sister who is a bit more demanding. So she asked if this attachment has any impact.
I think the baby, because the baby attached to the caretaker, of course, the maid spend more time with the babies. It's naturally the baby will feel that the security is from her. As working mother, try not to use your guilt to compensate that, because if you use guilt, what you give to him may not what he needs. Like if you buy more toys, you don't need that. You buy better clothes. He won't appreciate what is new clothes, but spend quality time talking to your child, even as young as when they can look at you. Try to talk, even when you change his nappy, when try to bath them, just talk to them softly. Because I notice I have this child, 3 years old, less than 3 years old. She can really speak so well because of the mother work nature. She has to meet a lot of people, so a lot of people talking to that child. That really helped her to build up her speech abilities. Because children, they learn through imitations. If you want them to really explore, to imitate you, make sure you do something that worth imitations, like doing house chore whenever they are around. Don't do house chore when the baby is resting. Okay, that is also your resting time. Okay, I realize that, so I try not to do house chores and while they're sleeping. Okay, do to let them imitate. Yeah. So yeah, mother, you just need to spend time. Yeah, a short time. The older they are, that spending time can get longer. Just to cater for them.
So as parents, what else can we do to nourish ourselves so that we can nourish our children and be good imitators, right? And so many things, because even sitting through this class or sharing, we won't expect to become experts, definitely not. To learn about the reflexes, you have to have such keen, eagle eye to observe them, I feel. Because, among all the things that you have to be busy with and at the same time still have to like keep an eye on like the minute details, it's not easy. So I feel maybe Yau Yau also can also share why why she really hopes more parents or like even teachers can come attend this workshop that we're conducting in April. It's called Conscious Parenting for 0 to 3 years old. And
yeah, it's very rare opportunity because water education, we have so many kind of trainings throughout more than 10 years. We never have a workshop that is for young parents, and your children are welcome to join, and and we have very experienced teachers in girl, and she's certified in doing all this. And also for Teacher Rolf, he's a nurse, certified nurse.
both of them are
Both of them. And you will learn the natural way how to avoid all the antibiotics, all the medicines. There's ways to do it in a natural way. Yeah. And it also help you to build your confidence as parents, because our time we don't have teacher like them to come and teach us, explain why you need breastfeeding. Of course, you join some support group. Yeah. But eventually we get distracted along the way. We somehow we forget why we do what we do. And of course, by telling you all these reflexes, the last thing I wish is to make you worried. Because I need to admit that when I learn about learning support and go through all these reflexes, it makes me worried. Because we feel so concerned and we see children having problems now, getting more and more. What can we do? So rest assured that when you come to workshop, you will get a very clear ideas and to be simple as a parents, not to try to feed yourself with a lot of knowledge, so that the do and not do list is getting longer and longer and make you stressed. Because if parents are stressed, you can't give to your children, and you can't really feel their needs. Yeah. So yeah, welcome. Please come to join this workshop. It's 3 days, 2 nights. I'll be there to do translation if you need Chinese translation. English is not my main language, but I can share with you more about Word of Educations. Yeah.
Teacher Yau Yau will be one of the teachers to share on the Word of Education section. So because the experience throughout, as well as in the conventional system and then Waldorf system as well. So it's like, the best of both worlds. And also, I think one thing that I really want to highlight for this workshop is that we don't see families taking care of babies, not like how our grandparents used to, right? I barely see my cousins when they're very, very young, and there's only like maybe 4 of them. So actually, I realized a lot of what we are learning is really through web or like word of mouth or like really good teachers like Teacher Yau Yau, and other than that is our past experience. So maybe with this workshop, we get to meet more parents of this age gap, especially 0 to 3. Because I attended the early childhood workshop before, and it was for 3 years old and above. And I realized, as parents, there's still so much to learn before sending them home. And what can we do? And having each other to bounce ideas and to see each other's good practices, I really appreciate that. And I think having this workshop to be able to bring the whole family, not just your kids only, you can bring your grandparents as well, the kids' grandparents, your parents together. It's really a family workshop that we hope we can cultivate a healthier unit for our children, so that we can take care of each other and take care of the child's many needs together, not just the mom, not just the dad, it's the whole family unit, even the whole community as well. All our details is in the Google form. I will show a little bit of information here for you so that you can get a better idea of what to expect. It's our first time doing such a complicated workshop as well. So we actually take care of your accommodation, we take care of your meals, childcare, and also Yao Lao and Teacher Fiona also offered to create a space, an age-appropriate space for our children at the corners of the hall, so that parents can have a peace of mind to continue with your learning while your kids are also being nourished. They're not just pottering about and coming to kacau you or something like that. It's really that they are in a space that is curated for their age. And so this is something that we're very proud of, that we can do such a thing with the whole community coming together to support us. So as you can see, this is our tutors, Ingrid and Rolf. They are both certified anthroposophic nurses since the 80s. And they're also both parents and grandparents of five grandchildren already. So Ingrid herself is a lactation compressed feeding consultant for many families already. And also she will be bringing us a very interesting focus on children play, parents learn. So this is a little bit of the free play component that we have been talking about. So no intervention kind of play. How to do that, right? I definitely don't know how, especially how do we set up the space so that we can allow this kind of play to happen. This is just something that we can learn and actually see for ourselves how to do this setup. This is something that we will definitely take away from this workshop. And also with being nurses, right? They actually develop their own care gestures, their caring gestures for early childhood. And a lot of my understanding from Rolf in the last few years was his way of gestures of taking care of even elders is very, very humane. Unfortunately, I have to use that word. Yeah. But it goes beyond just taking care. It's actually a lot of care. You can actually transmit warmth just through how you portray your gestures, yourself, So I really am very, very much looking forward to this workshop because both of them, and as well as our supporting tutors, Teacher Yau Yau, Teacher Fiona, they have this embedded and embodied in them already. So having these role models for us, I really feel we will definitely benefit a lot from them. And of course, who should attend, right? I would say any new parents, any parents to be, especially, you know, learning before and learning after giving birth is two different worlds, but it's still very worthwhile. I was reading the same book, before giving birth and after giving birth, and I was like, why didn't I read this page? But actually, I marked a lot of things in that page. So it was totally new for me after giving birth that this is what I need right now. So I actually absorbed it even more. So, but if I did not do that before, probably I would. It's even harder the journey. So definitely for parents to be, this is something that also the reason why we conducted this is because we hope more parents can have peace of mind, enjoy the process more, so that most of us have already passed that earlier stage, but if only we knew more, then we could have enjoyed it, take the cries, take the tantrums with so much different views, with more care and more gesture. So, and of course, working parents with limited time, what can we do to prepare our environment, maybe, so that we can, we are there without being there also. I think this is something that I think a lot of us are also worried about, right? And of course, guardians, teachers that are looking at what is the whole constitutions of the head, heart, and hands of our children. How can we support them? So these are very things that we should come with a manual, we say now, but did not. So we hope this workshop is something of a manual for us, especially people that have passed the stage, never mind. We will learn more definitely, and you can be the spokesperson for your family and friends as well. The people that are still in the process, the biggest bonus is that you are in the process because you learn so much. Of course, what you will learn, these is some of the summary of what you will learn, but definitely there will be more because as you bring questions along, and our tutors are very happy to accommodate that. And that's also what we love about our tutors, because they are here to serve us and to serve everyone that has the needs. So bring a lot of questions, good questions, and hopefully with that you will hear your answers for yourself also. And so, as I mentioned, a lot of our feature is that we can bring our children along, and a lot of the classes are very much curated for parents. So it's only 1 hour short for all the lectures, and also so that you can attend to your child in a short period of time. So it's not extended more than 2 hours. Then we'll have breaks in between, and then we'll continue on as such. So there will be a lot of engagement with other parents as well as tutors as well of this same category. And of course, we also provide childcare services on site. So this is by teacher Eugenia. She's 14 years in Waldorf education actually, and she's also very passionate about bringing Waldorf education to more parents and having more care in the day-to-day lives of our children. So she will actually set up the whole Waldorf classroom as our childcare service offering. And of course, the full course meal will be definitely organic for all of GOMSI Academy and GOMSI Core activity. It is always organic as our main criteria. So this you can have a peace of mind, and even for our children, you don't have to worry that you have to buy separate ingredients, which we also try to encourage that adults, parents, you also need to be nourished in your body, mind, and spirit, not just your children. Because like what Teacher Yau Yau said, they imitate us, and they need to imitate good habits of eating. So, and that comes from us. So, and of course, like I said, conducive environment. We try our best to set up and bring a Waldorf classroom to Rumah Harmony for everyone to experience. That you maybe don't need a lot to actually bring out a good learning environment for your child. So this is something that we hope more can experience. And a quick breakdown of the fees, because many of you have been asking. So we will be conducting the class in Rumah Harmony Hill Homes in Seminyak, and they're actually a old folks home, a very new old folks home that we've been working with for the last 2 years. And they've been very, very accommodative with how we can bring our classes, bring kids, as well as preparing organic plant-based meals for us as well. So we have individual package is like you can come by yourself as well as bring young children with you, and that is 1,500 plus 8% SST, that will be about 1,600 plus. And if you wish to come, which we really highly recommend, is coming with your other half or even with your parents, your own parents as well, together with your child. You can bring up to 2 children of the early childhood age, 0 to 3 years old. And that's ranging about 2,500 plus SST is about 2,700. So all of the accommodation, the meals is actually covered. And if you require childcare service, if you're planning to bring children of 3 to 7 years old along, we highly recommend that you put them with Teacher Yau Yau, because then they will get bored and they are nourished at the same time, experiencing what a lot of syllabus is for what of kindergarten syllabus is for children. And then, you will have a peace of mind that you can just enjoy the lectures together. And also, I forgot to highlight one thing is that even though we do not have a early bird price, but we do have the children play parents learn session, which is only limited to 8 children per session. There's only 8 spots, and we have 3 of these sections, so 24 children and families can actually participate only. And that's the maximum that we cater for. So we hope that you can register soon so that you can avoid any disappointment, because this is also the highlight of our full workshop, is that we have this observation practice with Inga, and then she would actually, you can ask the questions there and then through practical observation. So thank you for your time, and if you still have any more questions, please feel free to connect with us where you found your link, and you can connect with me or with Vinny, or you can also reach out to us on Facebook page. So if you like this workshop or like this small sharing, please do give us some feedback if you can. Yeah, thank you, Ming. And hopefully we can have more of these interactions with teachers, of different expertise. Yeah, and we support each other throughout the way. We're not alone. We all have universal questions, not just in Malaysia. Even for like Teacher Rolf and Inga, they also say like, yeah, we have the same problems, parents are facing the same issues as well. So yeah, how can we overcome this all together? So thank you very much. Any last words from Teacher Yau Yau?
Enjoy this Ponzi
Yeah.
village. We need a village to raise our children.
So that you are not so tired as well.
Yeah. Yeah, get supported.
So thank you everyone for your time on this Sunday afternoon. So we shall see you in the workshop next month. So register soon. Bye bye.